The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey, it's Chris Winters here, and you know the drill if you've been on these before. Just give me let me turn on my screen here. If you can hear me okay and you can see my screen, just type a 1 in the chat box, and you'll see a little handsome gentleman there with holding a little baby. And let me know you can see that by typing a 1 in the chat box, and we will get started officially. 11111. Okay, awesome. Great to be here. I agree, Sean. It is great to be here. Okay, good. So we will get started. I'm already recording. And so let's go ahead and do this. Alrighty. So this article that I have up here is somebody that I coached about a year ago. And he just got published in the Huffington Post, How I Quit My Job and Moved to Denmark with No Money. Now, I want to give you a little backdrop about this that is not described in the article. This guy had a huge why. He knew why he needed to do this. He knew why he needed to make this happen. Basically, long story short, is he led with his heart and not his head. He fell in love with somebody from Denmark, and he's from the States, and he moved to Denmark, and no job, no nothing, and he needed to make this pay-per-call business work, and he did, and he made it work because it had a huge why. And if you go through and you read that, I'm lucky enough on here to have my name in here somewhere, right here, Chris Winters, boom, right there. So he made it happen because he had a huge why. And there's been other people within our group that have had a huge why. One of those people on that we've had on the call before, actually twice. The first time she was in a cafe, and it was very noisy, and it just really didn't work out. We had her come on a second time, and she was doing the Craigslist posts. And those people that were lucky enough to get on that have really made huge leaps and bounds as far as their call volume goes and their leads and stuff like that. Wonderful stuff. I love stories like this. This is just it makes my entire day on here. So we have a new guest on today, which we're going to get to in just a second here. But before we get to that, I want to share with you kind of what's on my mind and what's going on that end of it. So let's go ahead and do that here. So I believe there's a huge difference in the way successful and unsuccessful people think. I believe that success is not some big mystery out there. Success has been figured out. We all know it. And it has a lot to do with just mindset, right? It's a mindset game. I remember when I started out my business, and I really wanted to be good at it, and I was trying to be an offline marketer. And for those of you who don't know my backdrop story, I was basically living in the back seat of a car, and I had a huge why myself. And my wife and my kids had just kind of gave up on me and left me. And really, at the time, all the people around me said that, you know what, this may or may not work. It may or may not be successful. And I thought, I can make this happen. I did. I said, I can really make this happen. And that success is not like this genetic trait, like there's this certain gene in people that become successful. That's not it at all. What we started with today, what we've had on previous calls, these are not people that are genetically made and born to be successful. That's not the case at all. In fact, if you look across history, you see that successful people, they're not from a given particular background or education. They don't come from a particular family or race or whatever. It comes down to how do we manage our mind and how do we manage our days. It's really what it comes down to. How do we manage our mind and how do we manage our days? I think there's something different in the way that successful people and unsuccessful people manage their day. Unsuccessful people, when they unsuccessful people and successful people, they all have in common, we all have big dreams, and we all have things that we want to do, that we want to accomplish on that end of it. And what happens is that unsuccessful people, what gets in the way of their dreams is basically their limiting beliefs about themselves and what's possible. And they really kind of say a couple of things themselves. I mean, the first thing they say is, I don't know how to do this, so they stop. I don't have those things, whatever those things are that you think you need to be successful, so they stop. I am not like those other people, so they stop. But successful people have different mindset. Everyone dreams, everyone has a vision, and we can all look after our own lives and think of how we can reach another level. The challenge is that unsuccessful people, what they do is they keep stopping. They stop themselves constantly. When they think of what they currently know or have or are, they just stop themselves. Like, I don't have that. I don't know that. I can't do that. That's not me. But successful people, again, it comes down to mindset, remember, say, I want to do that, but I don't know how to do that. Instead of stopping, they say, you know what? My job is to learn how to do that. They take their current limitations, and we all have limitations, okay? And they put it on their agenda as their job to do, as their to-do list. They're like, I have these limitations. I don't know how to build a website. I don't know how to manage employees. I don't know how to grow a business. These are all my limitations. But now that's on my job to-do list on that. Instead of saying, I don't have that, instead, successful people say, that is my job to learn that. It's a huge difference in mind shift. Again, there's not some genetic thing out there. There's not like I was born with a golden spoon, or I was born without those kind of ambitions or drives. It really comes down to mindset and moving forward. So it's not like, becoming that person. You want to become that person of whatever thing you want to do. You need to learn how to become that person. When I started online marketing, I was literally bankrupt, and I was living in the backseat of a car. And then 12 months later, literally 12 months later, I made $1.2 million, actually a little bit more, in profit. And what made that happen was not that I had something new or new opportunities or something lucky happened. The internet, it had been around for a long time when I started. It's not that offline marketing and marketing to local businesses and giving them a stronger online presence, that wasn't something brand new that I had to discover. It was already there. I was doing nothing original on that. But I remember thinking back, like I had to learn how to build a web page. I was like, I have to learn how to build a web page. And I had no freaking clue how to do it. You know what? That became part of my job description. That became a part of my mission. And I worked day and night to learn how to do that. And we have to get to the point of, maturity in our lives where we say, okay, there's two things that are going to come into my life. Maybe I get lucky and things come along, or the second thing is I have to consciously design my life now. If I want to change, if I want my dreams, something new has to come from me. It has to come from you. And I'm going to become a better person. So I know that, I've been there before. I've been there where I've gone to dinners or outings and I felt uncomfortable in a room of people because they were more successful than me. And I felt like I didn't belong there. I felt like a less of a person. I felt like I was on edge. And I'm sure we've all been there before. And just know that there's no difference between someone else who's successful and not. It's literally comes down to mindset. And why is a huge, huge reason. I mean, if you can identify the why, that really helps out. And I've seen people succeed, and I'm currently witnessing people succeed on massive levels. Actually, on a lot of different levels. If you follow my Facebook posts, people who have a huge why. They just have a huge why. And I remember being on Bill Phillips used to have, he doesn't have them anymore, but he used to have a podcast or whatever you want to, it wasn't called a podcast back then, but whatever. And I was a guest on the show, and they asked me, they said, Bill Phillips asked me, Chris, if someone is addicted to drugs, and I was a former alcoholic, if somebody was addicted to drugs, do they need to hit rock bottom in order to come out? And I thought about that for a second. I was like, wow, that's a profound answer. And I had to think really carefully for a minute about that. And my response to it, and it's this, and this is applicable to wherever you are in life, it doesn't matter, is that if you allow yourself or somebody to hit rock bottom, there's a huge opportunity that they will never get out. By the time you hit rock bottom, no matter what it is in your life, if you allow yourself to hit rock bottom, there's an opportunity that the downward spiral to get there, you've probably lost friends, you've burned bridges, you've drained out bank accounts, you've drained resources, you've maybe drained your entire self as a human being, and that's probably not a good starting point, right? So no, my response was absolutely not. No, you don't need to hit rock bottom. In fact, you don't want to let anybody or yourself hit rock bottom. And it doesn't matter where you are in life and what you're doing or success. Don't let yourself hit rock bottom. Know that there's no difference between Steve Jobs or founders of Google or Facebook or whatever. We all have the same time in the day. We all have the same opportunities on that end of it. It is literally a difference of mindset in what we do every day. And don't think for a minute. There's like this thing that goes on out there today, and I see it every day. It's like people are like, I'm going to go for it all. Like, I'm going to be the next Google, the next Facebook, the next Snapchat. I'm just going to be that next big thing or nothing at all. And that's like crazy. There's like so many opportunities you can ride on. You don't have to be like the next Facebook or Google or any of that stuff. And you can ride those waves on their way up. And you don't have to be the next. You don't have. I didn't invent nothing that I do today. Did I invent? I invented nothing original, and I live a really marvelous lifestyle, and I'm very grateful for it. But I just want to let everybody know I didn't invent this. I didn't invent pay-per-call marketing. It was there before I came on the scene. I didn't invent any of this stuff. And it really comes down to mindset. So you got to ask yourself on here, okay, I don't have this. What do I need to do? My job now is to learn this and do this. Where unsuccessful people come in and they look at a situation and they say, that's just too much for me to do. I just can't do it. So, anyways, I could go on and on and on about that, but we have a guest on here, and I want to be respectful of his time. And he's going to share with us kind of it's in the same kind of line of thinking as what I've been talking about here. People make this huge fuss about selling their leads or leads. They're like, oh, I I literally cannot move from my business until I get a step by step ABC script on how to sell these leads. And what you've got to realize, and we've had guests on before that have given step by step and script everything of how they do. And our guest today, who's a kallzu member and student, has a really almost genius in the simplicity of how he sells his leads. And I really want you to pay attention to it because it will really unwind you from all this fear and stuff that's like wrapped up in this. I got to sell this thing. I need all these buffers and I got to hire all these people to do this stuff. It comes down to the simplicity of what you're doing and the core of it. You've got something that nobody else out there is offering. And with that, I want to welcome Andrew. Andrew, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. I'm so glad you could come on today. And you posted a video in the Facebook group. So some of the members have seen this already, but not all by any means, because there's a vast majority of members that don't even check in to the Facebook group, which I would encourage everybody to do. It's just a great place to get pumped up and invigorated and motivated on that end of it. But you posted a video about how you do your sales process. Cool. So could you share that with us? Because it's literally genius, and and the simplicity in it is just wonderful. I love how simple it is.
Yeah, going along with what you always say too, you don't want to make it any more complicated than you have to. And so basically, man, I've sold everything from, stuffed pheasant door to door to weight loss products to things to national pharmaceutical companies. And one of the things that I've learned early on is that to be successful in any of this, you have to be a little bit different. And then one of the things is I figured out the hard way was that to be really successful at selling, you don't sell. And so I'll jump right in the idea. There's a bunch of psychology, and maybe I'll get to it a little bit after, but this is it. Basically, everybody else and their mother-in-law is going to these people and saying, hey, I have leads for sale. That's the first thing they say usually, and they're bombarded with these people. There's a gazillion of them. And so they typically, everybody that's been in business for a while has been burned by these folks. So to differentiate yourself, and I always, like the saying a while ago, if you lead with a giving hand, your pockets will never be empty. And what that means is when I go in and call a lead, if anybody's watched the video, that was after an 18-hour day, so hopefully I can be a little bit more cognate today. But so when I call up a cold prospect, I act as if I'm a customer, and basically I really am. And first off, let me preface that. When I go into whatever niche that I'm in, first of all, I know the niche cold. I put in there. I read a couple books on it if I don't know the subject, and then I can talk intelligently both to the customer who's calling me and also to my customer who is going to be the business that we're selling the lead to. So I call up the business. Well, first off, we set up the lead. You have to get your leads in first, okay? Everybody gets all in a tizzy about it, but get your leads in first, take them in, and that's how you begin the process. So I take all of the relevant information, the content stuff, although a lot of people don't take it down. I get everything I can from that person, describing their situation, what they want, their phone number. Can I text them their first name, their last name? Can I call? Do they have an alternative number? Can I call their? It's usually women. For whatever you're in, they typically call more than guys. It's about I think 74%, 26%. We do keep tabs on that, and so it's depending on the niche. So I get all their information. You just try and remain calm, and if you know your subject matter, you can, because they're usually, when they want something right away, and they're calling you because they have a problem that they want to have solved. Sometimes it's a if they've got a flooded basement, then that's really a problem. Other times it's just they want their house painted because it looks bad and whatnot. So just be calm, cool, and collected with them. Take down all of the information, and at the end I say, well, I will see if we can get someone out there to help you right away. I give them my phone number, and we'll try and get someone in the next day or two. And what I'll do is, if you don't mind, as soon as I get that set up, I'll call you back with an appointment time and arrange. Is that okay with you? And they always say yes. And that's the and I'll stop right there. The psychology in that is I want them to feel comfortable with me, and I got a yes out of them, which is a positive reinforcement. That's the last thing they hear from me. So I call up the business with this lead where I've just nailed it. I've got every information they could ever think of, and I call them up and say, listen, are you guys, can you handle any more business? I need you to do an estimate for me. And they inevitably say yes. So I say, okay, you ready to take down the information? And I just bang right through it, not too fast, not too slow, but I don't stop. I go, here's the name, here's the number, here's the situation, square footage, whatever it's going to be, and here's the contact times. Here you can text. Here's the husband's name, and then will you make sure that you take care of this for me? And they're asking, well, yeah, of course. And I said, what time to be able to come out and give us an estimate? And they inevitably will give me a time frame, and if they won't, I get them into it. I say, listen, you need to give me a couple-hour time frame to do this and when you're going to do this. So they inevitably do that, and then they say, who are you? I said, well, we do marketing in this arena, and I don't have anybody right now to take these, but I need this woman taken care of. If it works out for you, call me back, and regardless, let me know what happens. Will you do that for me? And they inevitably say yes again. Click, I hang up the phone. Okay, so I wait till after the time that they're supposed to call that person or go out and see him, and then I give them a few hours, and then I call the lady back, and see how it went. Now, 9 times out of 10, they'll show up on time and everything's good. So I know I've got at least a good prospect here. And then she'll tell me what happened, and I'll say, okay, great, thank you very much. Poof. And so I know at least she's serviced. So the next lead comes in. I don't contact the business again at all. So the next lead comes in, and it could be a day or a week or whatever the time frame is, and I call them back again. I said, hey, how did that work out for you? And they'll inevitably say, oh, usually it did. Even if they don't have the job yet, they'll realize that it was a real customer, and they'll give me the scoop. I said, well, I've got another one for you. Can you handle it? And they'll say, well, yeah, of course. And they're usually friendly at this time. So give them the same information, and then they inevitably, at this point, they will ask you more details. I always fob off on that. And I say, well, listen, I'd love to talk to you about it, but just make sure you take care of this lead, and then we can talk about it at a later date. I've really got to go right now. I've got someone else to speak with. And I hang up the phone. Okay, but the first time I made sure that they had my name and telephone number, of course. And what this does is, this is ingrained with us, and there's a lot of psychology involved, but even as a baby, if you hand somebody something and then you pull it away, they inevitably want to grab for it. So this engages that portion of their brain, and so I've given them something and that they want, and I told them they can't get to me right away, even though they want more of these. And then there's also, if you've ever read, and I highly recommend this, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, PhD. That's hardwired into us. So it's called reciprocity. And then, they want to do me a favor at that time. So at this point in the game plan, after this second lead, turns out they will call me and ask me what the heck's going on, what we're doing, and I give them the information, and I say, well, listen, and I told them the price. I said, before you pay me or do anything else, I'm going to give you one more lead, and then we'll set up the program. I tell them that they have to make the deposit, etc. And that's it. That's all there is to it.
Wow. Huge simplicity in that.
And I've never not sold. I have 100% success rate. The only thing, as I said in the video, is if they flake on the first, if they don't show up on time and they don't call me and there's nothing there, I just automatically take that lead and I give it to my second tier business. And if both of them call are great, but usually I'll give it to them. And by the second time, I've never had to go past two.
It's phenomenal. It really is. And the simplicity, I just love it on here. So there's some things on here I really want people to take note of. And that is it what Andrew started with? He said, how do you be different? Obviously, the way he's doing is different. And the major thing that he's doing different is don't sell. There's nothing, there's no like fancy script. There's no like trying to get past, you know, keeper, none of that kind of stuff on that end of it. And he came in there and he basically comes in and he says, "Hey, I've got a lead. This is like the hottest lead possible, right? I mean, it's like a hot potato. It's like you're just like bouncing off your hands because it's so hot. Like I got the address, I got the phone number, I got the person's name. I need you to take this, da 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 da." And you've already pre-qualified the lead, and so when you hand it over, it's still a hot potato. And when they grab that and take it, it's going to be really successful. There's no doubt about it. I love the simplicity and this like zero sales. And for those of you out there who are like, and I know there's people out there like this. It's not like one or two or 2% of the population. It's like 98% of you out there are absolutely terrified to even talk to a customer. This is the most friendly way you could possibly talk to somebody. You don't just have like free leads. You like got a hot lead like right now. Here's their name, their number, their phone number, their cell number, their address, so on and so forth. And they are ready to go. And I can't think of anything more valuable to a business owner than that. I mean, that kind of phone call it's just going to break all kinds of barriers. And you're not selling. You're purely giving. You're literally just giving away. And I love the second part of it, where it's like you're like giving, but you're like running away. And it's like you always want what you can't have. You're like reaching out and going, oh, whoa, wait a minute. You got some more of these on that? What happens, Andrew, because you didn't really include that in here. What happens in the end? These customers call you back and ask for more, right? I mean, what's going on here?
Every single time.
Every single time. This is like 100% of the time. People are calling you back.
I'll probably break my record tomorrow, but no, it's just, well, there's no trick, there's no magic wand needed.
Yep.
This is basic human needs 101, because what we're doing, and I think Dan Kennedy said this, we're selling money at a discount is what we're doing. So they pay us $100 or whatever it is, and they're going to make $2,000 or $3,000 on the job. Okay, so they may not have made it on the first one, but the second or third or the fourth one, they're going to make they're going to make a huge proportion of it. So they're paying maybe $100 or $200 to make $2,000. So how many of those do you want to buy? And that's what it comes down to. And it's really not any more complicated than that. But a lot of people undervalue their leads. They're selling off their back foot, is the old term, instead of their front foot. You've got something that they want more than you. They have something that you want, because there's 10 or 12 or whatever contractors or whatever businesses that exactly what you have. And like you said, it is the hottest lead possible that exists.
Yeah, I love that. Selling money at a discount. Doesn't get more profound than that on here. So here's one of the questions we've gotten here from Leonard. He says, what does Andrew say if he calls a business with a lead and he gets the gatekeeper? So how does that go?
The same way. Say, hey, listen, are you giving out? Can you do an estimate? They go right to whomever gives the estimates.
yeah. It's like I
There are no
gotta.
gatekeepers.
Yeah, I mean, even if you have a gatekeeper, it's like I got a lead, I got their name, I got their number,
Yeah, right.
right? And then it's like
One of the
they're gonna pass it on to whoever takes that information down.
Exactly. One of the things when I'm talking to the business, I never call it a lead. I call it an estimate or a customer too. Because if you use lead, it only marketers use leads. I mean, us in the biz, and that was something I learned kind of the way. So I just act like I'm a regular schmo, and I don't use big words, and just kind of mosey on in there and keep their guard down, it is too psychologically. I know I'm doing them a big, big favor, even if they don't need it. So
Yeah.
that carries forward in the whole conversation because a lot of these companies they need the business. Doing them a favor, you could end up saving them. They they might be able to put their kid through college because of you. You know.
No, that's huge, and I love that little kind of subtlety there. So you're not calling it a lead again; you're calling it an estimate, and what else?
Or I have. Can you service a customer?
A customer,
Can you
an
can you take
estimate,
on more?
or can
Yeah,
you take on a customer, not a lead? I like that.
yeah,
That's really subtle because you're just because then you're not because I really like that because when you say lead, then kind of flags and defensive uh, systems come up and like, oh, whoa, wait a minute, what are you selling me here? No, I'm not. I'm like, this customer needs an estimate. He's a customer. Here's their name and number. Can you please take care of this customer and give them an estimate? It's like there's no lead, there's no selling going on. All the guards are down. That's a really good subtlety right there. Here's another question on here. I did something similar with my electrician, and the first job out of the box was 10K. Congratulations, TJ Maxx store. So, needless to say, 1 year later, we are still working together. Okay, so we have confirmation this definitely works on here. Teddy says, also, instead of calling it a lead, you could say referral. Do you call it a referral? Or just an estimate and a customer, right? I
nope,
got a
all the
customer.
marketers call them referral. No, you got to pretend
Yeah,
like you're the person that's doing it, like or their neighbor trying to help them out.
yeah.
Get out
So,
of the marketing mindset. Forget everything you've ever learned about marketing with this stuff because it'll hurt you.
yeah, referral lead. Get rid of that language. I like that. I like that a lot. So good stuff. And this is, I mean, I'm going to challenge you a little bit here because it's just amazing on that end of it. But you're claiming you've got 100% success rate with this. Even if someone had a
Yeah,
90% success rate with this, it would be probably, I mean, it would be a total success, but 100%
right.
success rate. You're standing by
Swear on a
that.
Bible.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Good.
Well, I
Good,
mean,
good.
think about it. If someone
Yeah.
said, Chris, I've got someone that wants to buy your kallzu, and they want to,
Sure.
pay you $1,000, whatever it is. Are you going to say no to that?
If someone called me up and said, I've got a customer for you, and here's their name,
Hmm.
here's their email address, and they want to buy your program, I'm not going to say no. And no one on my staff is going to say no. I mean, that's
Right.
absolutely correct. But if they come in, they start using like, I got a lead for you. I got a whole bunch of leads coming in. I got a referral
Ding,
for
ding,
you.
ding,
Blah
ding,
blah.
ding.
Yeah, yeah. Then
Yeah,
then then the whole red flags come up for sure. Yeah, definitely on
yeah.
that end of it.
It's
So
going to be a dumb. You know what? When it happens, I'll be happy because I'll know that business owner is so dumb that I don't want to deal with them. It's going to cause me problems later on if they can't get that basic concept. That's
it's
the way I
true.
look at it.
It's true. It's
And
true.
and I don't care if I do get it. That's the other thing. I don't care because I know if this guy doesn't buy it, the next one will buy it, or the next one. Because I will dial for dollars um, until I get it, until I get someone to take the lead. And I think I got to give credit to Kirsten for this, but she said you need to pretend that like these leads are little kittens, and you need to find a good home for them. And if you keep that in your mind when you're selling this, and that it really kind of helps the process. And it may be just a Jedi mind trick, but if you start out with the fact that hey, you really do have something valuable that's going to help these people, and that you need to find a good home for it. then that just kind of carries you through it. And forget about selling and everything else. You're doing these people a favor. Pretend they're your friend that needs help, and that's what you're doing.
Yes, I totally agree on here. Now, Teddy's asking out here, he needs to write us a script. I'm disagreeing with that. I don't think you need
Yeah,
to
no
write
way.
a script.
You need to do it. Needs to come from your heart and your voice.
Yeah, you just need to come in and say, hey, look, I've got a customer who needs an estimate, and here's their information. Can you take care of them? It's just that simple. There is no step by step script involved in this process. It's just simply you don't have a referral, you don't have a lead, you've got a customer who needs an estimate, or you've got a customer who needs to be taken care of. And here's their information. Are you ready? Do you have a pen and paper? Okay, great. Here's their first name, their last name. Here's their phone number. This is what they need. This is their address. Here's their zip code. No one's going to say no to that. That's literally impossible for somebody to say no to that, unless they're just running a really poor business or something. I mean, that's like
You know what
unbelievable.
people worry about that? But,
Yeah. Go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead.
No, 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 no. Go.
Oh, you have to have a cadence to it too. You don't give them a chance to wonder what's going on, because if you start say here's their name and here's their number, just like you just said, they're going to stop to ask you a question. They're just going to take the information down. It's like hardwired into them because they're used to taking customer calls. Okay, that's what they do. They take action when they take customer. If you come in as a salesman, they put up the wall, the moat comes out, they let the alligators go, and they bring out the guns. And so you just keep that bullseye off of you, and you slip right through. That's all.
I like that. That's a really, really another kind of subtle core concept on here is that you are calling like a customer. You're just ready to just fire out the information that they already take daily. Here's my name. Here's my
Exactly.
last name. Here's my address. Here's my phone number. Call me. Done. It's just there's nothing easier than that on that end of it. So let's get into kind of revisit the second stage of it. So you've given them the first lead. You've kind of like, you kind of leave them. What's the next contact you make with the business?
It's
Just
the
to
same
reiterate.
thing.
It's the
I
same
give them
thing.
another lead
You give them
and
another.
act hurried again.
You give them another lead and you act hurried. You just basically shove it down their throat, and you give
Right.
them another
Yeah.
lead. What's the next step after that? So you've given them two leads.
They call
What
me.
do you? Yeah,
They call me.
they're going to call you, right?
Right. Yeah. If I came by and stuffed $100 bills in your pocket, wouldn't you want to find out who I am?
Yeah, yeah, most
Especially if I
definitely.
left my business card in there.
Yeah, most definitely on that end of it. Because again, you're selling money at a discount. I love that. So
Right. And it's the whole grasping thing too. Everybody wants what they don't have, and no one's ever done this for them in their entire life. People don't help people without a plan to benefit themselves. And while this is true, I really go into it in that regardless if they buy anything from me again, I don't get too woo-woo here, but I know I helped them out, and what goes around comes around,
yes, yeah,
honestly.
yeah, no doubt. You can really feel good about that for sure. No, and that fires you up for the next one, even if they decide not to call you back. But can you kind of everyone out there listening? Can you kind of feel that this could really be like 100% success rate, or 90% or 80%, which is way above anything, any kind of sales spiel my company does on this end of it. This is just like the simplicity, and it is just pure genius. And it's just like goes right down to like the root level of this is this is what they want and need, and this is what I have. Zero sales. Here you go. Here you go again. Oh, by the way, this is my name and number. If you want to give me a call back, I'll probably have more. It's that's
That's it. You nailed it. Boom.
you can't get any simpler than that. I mean, that's just it. That's the core of it. And if you're frightened and scared to get on the phone and talk to customers in that manner, this is you could easily outsource this, but I would encourage you not to in the beginning. Um, but you could easily outsource this because this is not like a cold call sales call at all. You are calling to give away value. You are calling to give away money at a discount, not once but twice, and then you give them an opportunity to call you back to get more money at a discount. That's just like, oh man, that's a 1, 2, 3 puncheroo right there. It's just like, yeah, that's good. That's really good. I just like that so much. I don't know how much more we could. I mean, it's such a simple concept that we really couldn't sit on here for the next 30 minutes and like ramble about it. And there's like, so here's a question. I mean, it's just that simple. Here's a question here from Martin. He says, do the contractors pay you through PayPal Biz account? That's just such a minor detail. Yeah, I mean, through kallzu, you can go through your PayPal account. You don't even need a business PayPal account. You can just have any PayPal account. It just automatically sends an invoice out from your account. You don't have to worry about it. Super, super simple on that end of it. On that. How much do you charge them per customer on this end of it? So there's always this big debate about, what do we charge per customer? Even before we have leads. It's like even before we have leads or anything, we're gonna contemplate seriously and like stop our entire business and growth of our business to think about how much do we charge per lead. What it comes down to is just some really basic, simple things, and that is whatever the market is going to bear. So what do you come into the market with? Well, you can look for, number one, you can look on Google AdWords. What do they charge per click? And then you can just kind of estimate. It's just an estimate. You can say, you know what? If they charge $10 per click and they get 10 clicks, they might get one phone call. They might get two if they're lucky. So if they get two on that end of it, and they get 10, so that's going to be about $50 a call. And out of those calls, they're not going to close every call. They might close 50%. And so, that comes down to about $100. So you got to kind of look at it like that. And you can also just Google whatever niche you're in. You can Google your niche and then type in the word leads for sale. Or type in your niche and then leads, email leads. Email leads is usually the most popular. And you can get kind of an estimate there. Now, it's going to be all over the map. I guarantee you it's going to be all over the map. So you've kind of got to do that. And then you've got to also come in and look at your niche. And then you've got to really become an expert at your niche and understand what they make on average per sale. And you got to know the difference between gross and net. They may gross $1,000 per job for a handyman job, but they may have 40% in labor and materials. So they only really there's a profit of maybe $600 or $500. It's more likely less than that actually. And then you've got to kind of weigh that out. So if I deliver, 10 live phone calls and they close 50%, and then you need to kind of do the math there. But so you can do all these estimates, but at the end of the day, whatever your estimates are, you're going to toss it out to the marketplace. And the marketplace is going to let you know whether that's too high or too low. And I would recommend going on the too low side. And the reason is that because if you've got customers and you're charging on the lesser side of things, those kind of customers tend to never bother you. And that allows you and your staff to grow and expand your business. Whereas if you're really tight on the margins, you're going to get some customers in there, and most of them are going to be that way because they're going to be good business people. They're going to be little bean counters, and they're going to count every single call that comes in. Like, oh, this one wasn't qualified. I can't do this one. Blah blah blah. And you're going to end up spending and burning hours away on that. Whereas if you just lowered that price down a bit, it would you and the business owner would both, and I mean both, profit more um, because of that. And I see people all the time reading through the support tickets and stuff. I review about 20 to 30% of those that come through just to get a feel of what's going on. And I see people emailing in and saying, oh, I think I like this niche because I could charge like $230 per lead. And I'm like, that's maybe not the best approach to go at this. It's like, how much can you charge per lead? It's really looking at the volume and can you rank well, and then you know what? If you think you can charge $230 per lead, then try it on the first couple clients after you've done your research, and you'll know pretty much well. So Andrew, you sell a lot of leads. So what's your tactic as far as someone who's new to this business and they want to figure out how much do I charge per lead, regardless of the niche?
Um, I ask. I ask them how much they think. How much is it worth?
The
And
simple
and if it's
approach.
not, if it's reasonable, yeah. And guess what? About at least 50 or 60% of the time, it's more than I was going to charge them anyway.
I love that. It's a simple approach right
And
there.
I
Just
meet their needs. So I'm agreeing with them. I'm telling them they're smart. There's all kinds of psychological things going on there. But yeah, that's it. I ask them.
I love that. So they call you back and they want more
Hmm.
leads, and then you ask them how much the leads are worth to you.
Yeah.
So there's no argument there. Whatever they say, and then you reinforce that and let them know they're smart, and it's a good decision, and
Yeah.
you move forward with it. I love that. That's like way simpler than my approach. I like that. It's good stuff on there. Okay, so let's kind of wrap this up here. So any more questions on here? I'm going to go through a couple of these on here. Um, were these first few leads that you give a provider saved via email, or do they call you, or do they call into the tracking number and left the message? Look, however the leads come in, they may come in through the email tracker, and then you contact them back. The point is that you're gathering all the information from the customer. Like, hey, I understand you need this XYZ service. We're going to get somebody on you right away. Let me gather some information, and I'll have the professional, whoever that is, contact you right away. So I just need your name. Okay, good. I got your last name. I just want to confirm that. And you left your phone number here. Okay, good. And you need what done? This, and this. Okay, great. I will have somebody call you back right away. Thank you so much. And then you make the call. It's just as simple as that. And then Dave says on here, I'm assuming you have to move quickly on getting these leads to the new provider to make sure they're still warm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly on here. Do you charge them a monthly fee rather than a per customer lead? That really depends on you, whether you want to do one or the other. Regardless of what you do, you want to make sure, especially if you do a monthly, kind of a flat fee, is that they have access to the back end of kallzu, and it's a white label program. So they kind of log into your like members area. Your like whatever your business domain name is. It could be like a members dot your domain name. And they log in and they look at it, because many of them, you'll be shocked at this, but the vast majority will miss calls like a lot, like 20 or 30%. So you need to be on top of that kind of stuff. So whether you do the per call or not, you want to give them access to the back end. You want them to be able to see what's going on. You want to point things out to them. How they're managing their calls are recorded and stuff like that. So you can go either way. I would encourage you. It depends on the niche, but I would encourage you to go at least starting out in your niche if you're new to it, at least on a pay per email lead basis, and kind of move on from there. Um, can you still give old leads, say 1 day old call that went to a voicemail and leave a message? Of course you can. That's no problem. Just call that person back. If it's a 1 day old voicemail, call that person back, grab their name, their address, what they need, and let them know, hey, someone's going to call you right back. We're going to have a professional technician call you from your area within the next hour or so. And it doesn't matter how old the lead is as long as you called them up and you communicated with them that way. So I think it's pretty much that simple on that end of it. So awesome stuff. So let's go ahead and wrap this up here. So I appreciate Andrew. Thank you so much for coming on the call and just sharing the beauty of simplicity. I love it. I just feel totally invigorated with that. And I'm walking away with, we should all walk away with, you're selling money at a discount. And for everybody for coming on the call on this end of it. And we'll call that a wrap. Thank you so much. Talk to you on the next coaching call.